Good morning. This is Miss Dean on Talent Tuesday. So glad to be with you. Wanted to give you a tiny bit of background. My great grandmother was not only a teacher, she was also a poet, and her father before that. By the time I was growing up, my grandmother or great grandmother had suffered an injury to her hip and could no longer walk. And so, all the time that I was spending with her, she couldn't do anything really but sit very still. But she could memorize and repeat and recite all of her poetry. And because she had very distinct poetic style, I had a real ear by the time I was school age for what poetry sounded like. And so it became just a part of my life. And I have a great love for poems and was reading them as early as I was able to learn to read. And was writing poetry from the time that I learned how to write. And so it's something I still love to do for fun. I don't particularly care to write free verse. I like very challenging, very structured poems that have specific rhyme and specific structure. And so sometimes my poems, if you ever hear me repeat one or recite one to you, it'll have very elaborate verses. Sometimes it'll have perhaps complicated rhythm, or it'll have maybe even vocabulary you've never heard of as well, because I enjoy the challenge. And so today, when I was selecting a poem of mine to read to you, I was trying to find one that wasn't very complicated, that perhaps had some very simple vocabulary, and I just don't have one. So I decided that what I was going to do was still read one of my poems to you and just read it slowly. And if there is a word or there are multiple words that you don't know, perhaps you could ask your teacher or find me later on today and ask me, and I'll be glad to tell you what the word is, and then we can have a learning experience throughout the day. So I hope that you will enjoy my poem called The Herald of Spring. About the time that winter has brought me down with dreary blues, I see the first signs of springtime in the softest yellow hues, while all around the south still sleeps in the grips of hibernation. The first-born heir of flowers greets the world with salutation. With joy I spy his golden crown, for hope is what he brings, that soon the dark, cold winter will step aside for spring. No other blossom holds my heart or gives my soul a thrill quite the way that this bloom does, this splendid daffodil. I hope that you enjoyed it, and please be inspired to try to write some poems of your own. And don't forget, as I tell my students, if you love music and you want to write lyrics, you got to learn how to write poetry. Enjoy. So I love so much having you with me and you having the opportunity to hear poems, and I hope that I can hear some of yours very soon. Thanks a lot. Bye bye.